We start our lesson on suturing by learning how to perform the simple interrupted suture. This is a basic suturing procedure and it's a method of choice if you're worried about the cleanliness of the wound. If the wound looks like it's becoming infected, a few sutures can be removed easily without disrupting the entire closure. Interrupted sutures can be used in all areas but may take longer to place than a continuous suture. Let's begin. Enter the incision from the right side, about 0.5 centimeters away from the cut edge. Catch the inserted needle in the middle of the incision and reposition it on the needle holder. Exit on the left side of the incision, about 0.5 centimeters away from the cut edge. Pull the suture all the way until there is about an inch long tail left on the right side of the incision. Now you will tie a knot using the needle driver. Drop the forceps from your left hand and release the needle from the needle driver. You will start with a long string of the suture in your left hand and the empty needle driver in close position in your right hand. Wrap the long string twice around the needle holder with your left hand. Use the needle holder in your right hand to pick the short tail of the suture next to the incision. Then pull them through. As you do that, you should cross your arms so half the knot lay flat on the skin surface. Repeat the knot tying motion, only this time you will wrap around the needle holder once and you do not need to cross your arms. Only the very first knot at each position requires double wrapping. All following knots will be single wraps around the needle holder. If you're using a silk suture like this one, 3 to 4 knots will be sufficient. If you're using a nylon or Prolene suture, you'll need to put at least 8 or 9 knots down. Cut both strings about 0.5 centimeters from the knots before you move on to the next one. In this case, the short end was already ripped. We cut only the long string. Proceed to the next stitch. Make sure to insert the needle at a perpendicular angle to the skin. Since the needle is curved, not straight, you need to advance the needle along the same imaginary circular line by rotating your wrist. Assist with your left and the forceps to help the needle exit in the desired location. Again, pull the suture all the way until there is about an inch long tail left on the right side of the incision. Wrap the long string around the needle holder with your left hand twice. Pick the short tail of the suture with the needle driver. As you pull through, cross your arms. Tie 2 or 3 more knots with a single wrap. And cut both strings approximately 0.5 centimeters away from the knots. Repeat the same action all the way to the other side of the incision to close its entire length. The sutures in the torso need to stay in place for approximately 1 week. To remove the sutures, you will need forceps and a blade or a pair of scissors. Get under the suture with the blade and nick it. Then you can pull the whole suture in one piece with the forceps. Repeat these steps until all sutures are removed. Again, when you remove the sutures, do not position the sharp edge of the blade facing the skin. Always place the dull side of the blade on the skin with the sharp side facing up. Similarly, do not come in with sharp scissors facing the skin to remove the suture. Get under the suture with a dull side on the skin with a single blade of the scissors. This now concludes the video on how to perform a simple interrupted suture line.